Tonight, we break down the case of Melissa Lucio, a Texas mother of 14 who's set to be executed 2 weeks from today. But there are calls nationwide for our governor to stop it. And the district attorney who initially argued for her death is now saying if the governor doesn't step in, then the DA will withdraw the request personally. So what's changed? Melissa was found guilty of murdering her 2-year-old daughter back in 2008. The girl fell down a flight of stairs and died from the injuries several days later. Within hours of the death, Melissa was interrogated for 5 hours straight. She denied injuring her child more than 100 times during the interview, but confessional experts and Melissa's legal team claim that she was subjected to coercive tactics while pregnant with twins, eventually even forced to simulate beating a doll, at which point, after again 5 hours of pressure, she conceded that she may have wished her child dead. And her team says that is not the same as confessing to a crime, but it was used to convict her. The case has caught national attention. Aspiring attorney Kim Kardashian using her global influence to discuss the case and encourage her 72 million followers to pressure Governor Abbott to grant clemency. Texas politicians on both sides of the aisle agree that something is just not right.
What harm could it possibly do a single Texan to push the pause button when the grave harm and the irreversible harm, the unmistakable harm that it would do to not only her, Melissa, but for our entire system of justice if her execution is allowed to go forward and we find out later that, wow, she was innocent?
Many are making the case that Melissa's alleged confession was far short of an actual admission of a crime. So we spoke to our legal analyst, Charles Adams, who is a former police officer, former judge, and current defense attorney, and he explained that false confessions are far more common than most realize.
1 out of 3 people that have been exonerated by DNA evidence actually gave a false confession, and law enforcement officers are trained in eliciting statements, incriminating statements from people. And the goal is to elicit true statements and get convictions. But over the years, it has become abundantly clear that a lot of times officers are able to get people to say things just to stop interrogations, especially interrogations that go on for an incredibly long time. Does that mean that Melissa Lucio is innocent? No, there's evidence of a broken arm that wasn't treated, hair pulled out, other horrifying evidence of abuse, but it also doesn't mean she is guilty. And when you combine that with a lifetime of sexual abuse and 5 hours of interrogation after a child passed away, then it raises some real concerns. And those concerns should be enough to prevent her from being subjected to the death penalty.
Is there any system in place that checks for whether the method of getting a confession went too far or bordered on the type of abuse you're suggesting?
Well, a great number of states now are requiring that all police interrogations be recorded.
What objection, if any, do officers have to having those interrogations filmed?
I was a police officer when dash cameras became a thing, and a great number of us were reticent, right? But the truth is, cameras protect good officers from bad people and good people from bad officers. There is no legitimate objection to the existence of recording of police actions, especially in an interrogation room.
Melissa's attorney has been speaking directly with Fox 26 anchor Isaiah Carey about her client's 14 years on death row.
The shock of her youngest daughter having just died. And during that interrogation, police are showing her pictures of her dead child saying, you must have done this. And if you don't tell us what we want to hear, you're not going to her funeral. And, she's never coming back, and just really berating her and using highly coercive and manipulative techniques. And then, of course, at her trial, there was false medical evidence. The medical examiner testified that Mariah's injuries only could have come from some type of intentional abuse. And that is just false. We know that the autopsy shows indications of a blood coagulation disorder that causes bruising, that causes the injuries that the state's experts said only could have come from abuse. And in fact, it's completely consistent with an accidental fall.
So, a bipartisan group of 90 Texas lawmakers have now signed a letter asking for the execution to be put on hold in light of new evidence and all that you just heard. During a hearing yesterday in front of the Texas House Committee on Criminal Justice Reform, 5 jurors who helped convict Melissa said they regret her sentencing. Well, we will be watching the case closely, so tune in for updates over the coming 2 weeks.